it going, everyone?
Good to see all of you again. We have some things to talk about today. Oh boy, do we. Kind of mad. Kind of upset. It's going to be a good time. We'll wait for people to show up before I start getting into it. Because it's worth watching, I think, what I have to say. Gary W., you're way ahead of... Well, obviously, it's the title of the video. Yes. Oh, it's going to get interesting. How's it going, Explorer? Matt Streck. Matt, it's interesting you say that. Because Dewitte spells his name wrong on a lot of things. And with the help of some of the people in my Discord, we've been going through the paperwork that has been filed, that is publicly accessible, that has been filed with Metro State or with Jeremy Dewitte. And what we found is that when he registered the name of Metro State Services, Metro State, escorts, he's registered a few names. I don't think there's a single one of those with his name spelled correctly. And we came to the conclusion that may, and I'd love to be proven wrong, but that may be because he doesn't want people to be able to search his name and have Metro State show up. Which is potentially super illegal. Because if you falsify those documents intentionally, I believe that's a felony. So if that was his intent, oh boy. But maybe he's just bad at spelling his own name, which is probably better, although I still have some concerns. It's a whole thing. How's it going, everyone? He's already dug the hole. The hole is already dug. The problem is now that it's all surfacing, right? I think this happened in 2018. If I remember correctly. Let me check. Yeah, this happened in 2018. So this was, a while ago. So stuff is still surfacing. And this is one of the things that really frustrates me, is I've done not a live interview. I've done an interview with him over the phone. And I'll be trying to put that out as soon as possible. With this whole coronavirus thing, it actually made it a little difficult to get stuff out in a timely manner. I am not, working from home. So I have to sort of pick up the slack in my day-to-day life that other people... I'm not saying that people who work at home, shame on them. No, that's perfectly fine. I understand it. But it does mean that I'm working a bit harder recently. So my videos, I can't put them together as easily as I could have a month ago. Just one like so far. So, no, touch my face. Now I have coronavirus. Something for you guys to think about before I start my ramble. I had someone comment on my video saying that he hated how disorganized I was in my live stream. So I want you guys to understand, my organized videos are the ones that I put together and I edit and I add graphics to. This is a chance for me to interact with you directly. I don't want this to be super structured. I want you to ask questions. I want you to bring up things I may not have thought about. This is a chance for us to really talk to each other. And so, of course, it's going to get a little derailed. It's going to go a little off topic. It's going to be a hot, rambling mess. And if you guys have a problem with that, please... please let me know, and we can... because this is for you guys, and it's for me, and I really enjoy doing it. I hope you do, too. But, back on topic, obviously I'm not doing much to dispel the ideas that I just ramble and change topics all the time. He said to me, he's like, look, there are a few videos out there of me that are showing some bad things. They've been edited so that all you see is the bad stuff. But there's, so many videos out there of me doing the right thing, which you're not seeing. Which is fair. That's a very good point to make. But I can only assume that there are other videos out there that show him doing the wrong thing still. Because I was like, oh, cool, that's a really great thing to point out, that you do the right thing a lot. It's just that these have been edited to show you doing the wrong thing again and again and again and again. I understand that. But at the same time, what videos are out there, for example, this one we're about to look at, that show you doing the wrong thing, right? Because this isn't just a simple mistake. This is kind of a big deal, especially to me, someone who was in the military. It's a whole thing. I wish I had a group of 10 scriptwriters. I'm doing this all solo, which is kind of how I like it. Excuse me. Oh, no, my keyboard. I don't have the virus, guys. It's just I've been talking a lot. It's made my voice a little weird. Maybe I do have the virus. I don't think so. So we want to get into this. I feel like 17 viewers is enough. All right, I don't have much time to do this, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to watch the video. We're going to do it mute, and I just want to talk about his uniform. One of the things he brought up to me is like, look, let me pull it up. We used to have a different uniform, right? If you look at our old pictures, we had yellow shirts and so on and so forth. Now we wear this gray shirt. And the reason they changed from the yellow shirt is because, according to him, a motor officer in Florida, being one of the police officers that ride his motorcycles, said that is too close to our motor units. We need it changed. Okay, cool. That makes sense why they would change that. But you can't tell me that this was an attempt. This right there is an attempt to not look like a motor officer. And it's fake Jeremy Dewitte. I didn't see the fake. I had the name fake covered. I thought, I was like, oh no, it's actually Jeremy Dewitte. I'm about to go off on him. All right. Yeah. Just don't start calling people F-boy. I'll be fine. I feel like that's probably true. I like this shirt. The problem is it's a little green. And going off topic, because you guys brought it up, and I'm going to address things that you bring up. There is a little green tint to it, so you'll see on this shoulder, the green screen doesn't like it too much, so I don't wear it as much as I'd like to, unfortunately, because I do like this shirt a lot. It's very comfy. But enough of that. We're going to talk about Jeremy Dewitte. We're going to look at his uniform, and we're going to watch this muted so that I don't address the things he says, which I'm sure many of you are aware of, which are very frustrating to me. So, let's look at his uniform, and let's get the best image of it we can. So he's said to me, directly to me, oh yeah, it's just our uniform sort of happened to be that way. And of course, we're trying to have the look because people want their escort. They're paying for a police-style escort, so we want to look very similar. But is it too similar? Let's discuss that. Phasing into an alternate reality. Anyway, let's cut his face out. It bothers you. I wish I could, since it bothers you. So let's look at this uniform here. This is an actual police officer. This is a City of Tampa police officer on the left. I don't know if you can see my mouse. This is him. They look really, really similar. We're gonna ignore that part because that's something we'll talk about in a second. Let me. All right. See, another Tampa police officer. I want you to look at that and look at him. If you didn't know better, you'd just think they were different departments. Talking, having a good time. How close this uniform is insane. So here's a really good one. All right. So we have a nameplate here. He's not wearing a tie. Some motor officers do. He's got patches on each shoulder. Over here, you can't see it right now. He has a wheel with an arrow through it. We'll discuss that. He has the flying wheel right here. This, oh boy, we're going to go into that. This is an LAPD badge. It doesn't say LAPD on it. It doesn't say police on it anywhere. But this symbol on it, Los Angeles Police Department. He's wearing these two stars, which assuming that he's still going by Los Angeles Police Department, because a lot of this stuff is Los Angeles Police Department, that would make him a deputy chief. It's weird that he's not, giving himself the most rank as possible, but I assume that if he had multiple different locations that he ran out of, he would promote himself. Good for him. All this gear. One of the things I've brought up again and again is if he wants to look like a police officer, he doesn't need the gear. He just needs the pouches, right? This is enough. He doesn't need a baton. He doesn't need a flashlight. Is he doing these at night? Does he not have headlights? The pepper ball gun, he did give me a defense for that. He said, look, we've had some people that were very aggressive when it came to the funeral escorts, and so we carry those types of things for self-defense. All right, cool. But do you think that maybe the people are aggressive because of how you interact with them. Now, his excuse was, and you'll see this in the interview, he's like, look, what you're not seeing is these people have been entering our funeral, and we've been asking them again and again and again to leave. The things that are being seen are us finally frustrated and saying, no, you're getting out now, and that's why we're yelling at them like that. Well, okay, valid excuse, except we've seen videos of people entering from a cross street and getting yelled at like that. They haven't been entering in and out of that the funeral procession. So what's the excuse there? I don't know. I'm very frustrated right now. I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'd love to hear a good excuse, but I'm very frustrated right now with all the things he said. And then these videos keep coming out. I was like, really? Come on, man. So, these patches, these all this gear. Let's see if I can get that a picture of that, the wheel with the arrow through it, because that's a little relevant. It's right there, but that's not a good image. I know, I'm flipping around, guys. It's right there. Anyway, it's not important. Oh, there it is. There it is. You can kind of see it. Yeah, he does have his name spelled wrong there, doesn't he? You can kind of see it. Wheel with an arrow through it. That is a symbol worn. I believe it's worn by LAPD. It might be worn by other departments. Basically, that is a motor officer symbol. So we know he's got the LAPD badge, some symbols. But how close is his uniform to LAPD? Let's take a look, shall we? Yeah, here's LAPD. And here's one of their officers. He doesn't have the tie, but he does have that badge. He has those service stripes. The shape of the patch is similar, but not quite. You know what shape that's a little closer to? It's a little closer to this patch. This is the Fullerton Police Department. This is also in California. All right, look at the shape of that patch. Look at the shape of that patch. You can't really see it because, unfortunately, the person filming this wasn't doing this with the intention of basically being mad at his uniform. So we have a lot of... look how similar that is. Even if when you see his pants, if we can find his pants, it has that stripe. I'll let you guys go. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It has that stripe. That is right there down the leg. And if you go to their website and you look at their photos, you can see very clearly that they have that stripe. The boots are different. There is no tie. What's going on right here is different. This right here is different. I don't mean to put my mouse right there, but I have to point this out. Here's something I want to point out. Right there. Look at what he's wearing right there. Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is? That is an Army marksmanship badge. That is expert qualified. I bet he has rifle and pistol there. And I know this because I have my own uniform here. This is when I served in the military as active duty. I still serve in the National Guard. Look at that. That is the same exact thing. And I confirmed this. I went through that video real hard. You know, those things are missing. I don't have my RDI, DUI, nameplate, anything like that in here. I've removed some things for identification purposes and also because I have to get this dry clean, so I've been in the process of removing this stuff anyway. So, this is what he's wearing. Qualified expert. Oh, I have some ribbons missing too. Doesn't matter. All right. That's what he's wearing. It's weird. It's weird that he'd wear that a little bit. Especially since that's not a police thing and everything else is a police thing he's got going on, right? So what is he doing? Well, is this impersonating a police officer with his uniform alone? No. Even though it's real close. It's real close. Everything on here is basically police themed. Although this is military themed. This is actually a military item, which he can wear. He can wear all of that. He can. It's frustrating to me. He can wear that legally. Here's the problem. He's wearing all this gear. Can any of you read that? Can you read that? Does it say or does it say police officer on it? Does it say security on it? Does it say funeral escort on it? You can't tell. We're what, 10 feet away at most? You can't tell. And yeah, okay, the video is not the greatest quality. But can you read any of that? No. If you could read it and you saw Metro State, do you know exactly what that is? Does it say, oh, we're a security company? It does not, although he's not a security company, despite the fact of having all the gear to be a security company and advertising himself as doing security on his website. I think it should be displayed very clearly, funeral escort, right? That would make sense, but it isn't. He has taken steps. It appears that he's intentionally trying to make himself look like a police officer. You don't accidentally create this uniform. You don't just like, oh gosh, did I assemble this and it looks like a police officer? No, he knew what he was doing. He picked those for a reason. And now he looks very much like these other police officers that are around him, these Tampa police officers. I'm ranting a little bit. All right, let me pause for a second and read your comments. One time, thank you so much. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah, I know he's not allowed to actually wear a real gun, but some of his people do wear real guns. Have they called me for an interview? I've done the interview, McAddicts. The Flying Wheel, Ohio State Police uses that. Other departments do, I believe, but it's very common in Ohio State. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, why wear a bulletproof vest? Well, he says, we have some high-risk funerals. Okay, cool. But again, why do you have handcuffs? Why don't you just have a handcuff pouch? You don't need the actual handcuffs. One of the things that's frustrating me. All right, let me keep going through your comments real quick. Bought it at swap meet. And I'm sure it's cheap, right? I'm sure you can buy this used stuff they're getting rid of for cheap, and that's why I did it. But at the same time, you have to understand, if you're going to look that close, you have to be very, very careful with what you do. Because if you're a distance away from someone and you're, in an intersection, holding the intersection, which police have had issues with, and you're directing traffic and you're ordering people to stay and you're ordering people to go, and you're giving orders and people assume that you're a police officer, that's illegal. That's impersonating a police officer if they reasonably believe that you are a police officer. You don't even have to say you're a police officer. You look at that, you're going to assume that he's a police officer. I assume he's a police officer just looking at that. I was a police officer. I know the difference between, various aspects of a police uniform. I would see that and go, oh, he's a cop. Cool. Just haven't seen him. So all of this, he can buy all of this. He can wear all of this. The problem is, if he's out there doing things like a police officer, it's going to be impersonating a police officer. So that is his issue, is that he has put himself in a very precarious predicament, and now he's in a lot of trouble for it because he didn't use the appropriate amount of caution in his actions while dressed like that. Again, not illegal to dress like that, but let's look at what he's saying. I'm about to get... You think I'm mad now? Whoa. Oh, boy.
Sir, that you had been a police officer or anything.
So in the background of this video, there's an interview with him. He was like, I never impersonated a police officer. I never did these things. We're going to skip that. We're going to go to...
And then I served for 12
right
years
about
in the
here.
US Army.
Okay. Well,
All right. Do you hear that? I served for 12 years in the United States Army as a major. No, he did not. We'll go into that. But before I start breaking it apart, I do want to point out that Real World Police has done an excellent job. I've actually been working on doing this. It's a long process. But he got the help of Don Shipley. And for those of you who don't know who Don Shipley is, he's a retired Navy SEAL, and he has a bit of a hobby. It's kind of amazing, actually, of calling out other people that are claiming to be SEALs or members of the military who aren't. And he has a lot of fun doing it. It's really fun to watch him get all excited about it. So, like, Don Shipley is kind of a really big deal. And the fact that he's involved with this is really cool to see. But so they filed a Freedom of Information request about Jeremy Dewitte and saying, like, hey, are there any records of him? And I guess there weren't. IPERMS, the Interactive Personnel Electronic Records Management System, doesn't have anything. The National Personnel Records in St. Louis didn't have anything either. So we know he's not a soldier. But I don't even need this. I can talk about this without that. And let's do that.
I was young and dumb and I wanted action, so I joined the Army, was a Ranger.
All right, remember he just said that he was a major. He was in for 12 years. He's a major. It sounded like he said he was a major for 12 years. I'm going to assume he meant 12 years in the military, ended as a major. Listen closely.
Then I did the Army. I was young and dumb and I wanted action, so I joined the Army, was a Ranger, and then I went SF, and then...
Ranger and SF and major. All right?
My parachute didn't work right, my back...
Parachute didn't work right. Back got hurt. Hold on, this one's weird.
I went SF, and then... My parachute didn't work right, my back got hurt, my brother got killed.
His brother got killed? Now, is he talking about his real brother? Because I'm pretty sure his brother is still alive. Or is he talking about his brothers in arms? We're not going to go into that, because I don't know. I don't know what he means. There's so much to address, I don't even need to think about what he's talking about, because I can address everything else. So, what has he said? He said, I was a major 12 years. I was Special Forces. I was a Ranger. Remember that guy I interviewed, Carlos? who's like, yeah, I worked for Metro State for a little bit, right? Just a few times. That was the guy that Dewitte and the other guy who called in, who I have confirmed, and Jeremy Dewitte has confirmed, is an employer. Like, no, he never worked for us. He's lying to you. How dare you not confirm him? Well, I mean, he sent me pictures of him working, and unless he faked those, we can assume that he did a few jobs for them. He also said that Dewitte had claimed to be Ranger, I believe, or maybe it was Special Forces. I don't remember. It was one of the two. He said, yeah, he's made these claims. And DeWitte's like, no, that never happened. This guy's lying. But how would he know that if he hadn't interacted with DeWitte, right? And now we can clearly see he's making those same claims. So I'm a little more inclined to believe Carlos after this video. It's just interesting that was brought up. I just wanted to say that for a second. So I'm going to try to be respectful while I do this, just out of professionalism. DeWitte was a registered sex offender at 24, and in his interview, he vaguely alluded to it and said, look, she was in a bar drinking alcohol. She had a wristband that said she was 21. There was some kissing, there was some touching, and now I'm a sex offender because it turns out she was like 15 or 16 or something, right? Well, first of all, I feel like that would be a very valid defense. I don't know how it works in the state of Florida, but I know other people have used it as defense. Like, how could I know? How could I know they weren't of age? They had all the indicators that they were. So that's interesting. I'll definitely be reading that case. I'm not going to comment on it because I will be reading that case thoroughly and giving you guys an update on exactly what happened, because now I'm starting to doubt a few things he said after this video. So he was a registered sex offender, I believe, at 24. Earliest you can join the military is 17. You have to be 18 when you graduate basic, AIT, or OSUT, which AIT or OSUT, whichever one you go through. So let's assume he started at 18 and he has until 24, because I promise you, they'd have kicked him out of the military for that. Well, I assume. I can't imagine they would have kept him in. Anyway, moving on. So, he has 6 years to have done all these things. We can already assume not 12 years. He was not in the military for 12 years. But let's look at the timeline, right? He says he was a major, right? You need to go to school. You need to go to college and get a bachelor's to be an officer. So that's 4 years, all right? So that takes 4 years. That only leaves us 2 years. Then he has to go through Ranger School, which is, I believe, 2 months. I think it's 61 days. And then there's Special Forces School, which is 6 months to a year. Sometimes longer if you're in the medical field. So already, let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say 6 months. And we'll say the 2 months with the Ranger School. And that's assuming he went to all of these immediately out of basic. AIT or OSUT. OSUT being one station unit training, is basically basic and AIT combined. Doesn't matter. It's not really that important. But assuming he got all of these immediately, and he didn't have to wait for paperwork to be filed, and he didn't have to file the paperwork himself. And I promise you, he's not going to be able to do college and those schools at the same time. So we can't assume that they happened during the time he was getting his degree to become an officer. That gives us 4 years and 8 months minimum. And that's, it would be no way it would be that short, because there's a lot of paperwork to file to go to these schools. You have to get accepted. You have to wait till the school starts. So assuming that's not the case, we'll just throw that out there because it doesn't matter. Then he still has to go to officer candidacy school. And I don't know how it is from green to gold, meaning prior enlisted to officer, but officer candidacy, words are hard. Officer candidacy school is 12 weeks, which is another 3 months. So now we have 11 months, which leaves him, a year. Maybe 2 years if he became a sex offender at the end of 24, right? Almost 25. Let's say he has 2 years to become a major. That's impossible. It's a minimum of 4 years to become a major, right? It's 18 months to go from lieutenant to the next rank. I can't remember which one's first and second lieutenant, which is embarrassing for me right now, but I'm kind of upset, so my brain's not working fully. And then it's another, however many years to go from lieutenant to captain, and then to captain to major. It's a minimum time in service of 4 years as an officer, I believe. This is impossible. His claims are impossible. I don't even need to go through IPERMs or the national records, anything. What he's claiming is impossible. So for him to stand there and say, oh, I was a soldier. You don't get to play this game. You don't get to pretend that you are a thing. When I have friends who have tried or successfully committed suicide because of the things they've done, ones who have come back from combat messed up, ones who haven't come back at all, I've never deployed to combat. Not for lack of trying. I was just never in a unit that was deploying. And I was unable to get attached to a unit because I was needed with my unit doing what I was doing. But I have friends who didn't make it back. And for him to sit there or stand there and claim that he was these things just for fun. No, you don't get to do that. Is it illegal? That's the question, isn't it? It's illegal if he's saying this to people who he's trying to get work from. If he's like, look, hey, you want your funeral escort? Well, I was an Army Ranger. I was Special Forces. I know how to secure a convoy. He does not, by the way. Nothing he does is how convoys are done in the military. I promise you that. I'm very well trained on that sort of thing. Military police, when they deploy, that is one of their main missions, is convoy security. I can promise you he's not doing convoys correctly. Convoys being a substitute word for transports. So if he's using that, him just saying it in a conversation, no, it's probably not illegal. But him using that to get work absolutely will be, because it's illegal. So stolen valor, which is what we're looking at right now, is only illegal if you're using it to get a tangible benefit, right? If you're getting money, if you're getting property, if you're getting discounts, that's illegal. If that's what he's doing, good luck, dude. And here's the thing. I want to speak directly to you, Mr. Dewitte. I would love an explanation. You know I've tried to be reasonable about this. I want an explanation from you about this. Tell me I'm wrong. Explain this away. I would love an explanation. I am very open to what you might have to say. Please change my mind. Because right now, I'm pretty mad. Especially since I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I had a very nice interview. I let you look at the questions and cut out the ones you didn't want. Now, I'm still going to put it out there to show you in a positive light. Because that was the intent. That's what we agreed upon. But now this comes out. I want an explanation, Jeremy. Anyway, back to my followers. Let's address you guys again. Because that's all he gets from me. Let's listen to some of the other things he says. This guy. All right, so he's talking to a security officer, and he's very aggressive, and I don't know why. Here we go. Why is he yelling at this dude? Why? Be a professional. I never had to yell at people like this for no reason. I mean, if I was yelling at you, there was a very good reason. You're putting people's lives in danger, usually.
We don't know. Have I entered your facility? Yes or no? Security officer. Are you cleared for that? Sir, what's your GS level?
All right. If you have a GS level, it's the government employee pay scale, basically. So the higher the GS level, the more you get paid. I don't know where they are. If they're government employees, they might have one. But here's where it gets interesting.
I know what my military level was. My classification.
He knows what his military level was. Soldiers don't have GS levels. They have ranks. No soldier I know, and maybe I'm wrong, would refer to themselves as a level or a classification. No, they say, I know what my rank was. They don't have GS levels.
Sir, what's your GS level? Because I know what my military level was. My classification.
No. No. He's just making stuff up. He's pretending that he was a soldier. He said in that it was like, oh yeah, I was a police officer for this county. I was a police officer for this. He was not a police officer. He admitted this to me. He was he was in the Explorer program, which is run through basically the Boy Scouts of America. It's like if you went through ROTC or JROTC, actually would be more appropriate. If you went through JROTC, and then told people that you served in the military. No, you did not. You did a thing in high school that was a military-like structure, but you're not a soldier, right? Just like if you were in the Explorer program, you're not a police officer. You were never a sworn police officer. He even says that. He goes, yeah, I was a police officer. I was a, whatever. He has told me he was never a sworn officer. If you tell someone, oh, yeah, I was a police officer, you know what that implies? That you were a sworn law enforcement personnel. Come on. So, why? He's going through a lot of trouble to convince people he's something he's not. And he thinks he's real smart. And he's like, oh, well, I never actually said I was a police officer now, right? Cool. Well, you're not telling people you're not. When people are like, hey, what are you? He goes, I'm a state-certified agent. What the hell is that? Are you certified by the state in what? I'm certified by the state to drive a car. Does that make me a state-certified agent? What is he an agent of? His own company? That's going to confuse people. You say, are you a police officer? Remember that video where he's like, no, sorry, I'm getting messages. When he's asked, there are videos where he's asked, are you a police officer? And he goes, oh, well, why don't you find out? Or like, he doesn't answer. Maybe you want to answer next time, right? When they say, what are you? And he goes, state certified agent, figure it out. Just tell them. Just tell them that you are a funeral escort company, and like half of these things wouldn't be applying to you right now. That's all you have to do, is make it a little clearer that you are a funeral escort company. Because that's what you've told me, that, oh, no, that's all we do. We're not trying to advertise us as anything else. Okay, well, you look like a police officer. You're telling people you're a police officer. Your website says that you do security work. Your gear certainly seems to indicate that. Nowhere on your uniform does it actually explain what you are. Although it doesn't say police officer, I can't see that right now. I can't look at that and go, oh, is he a police officer or not? I have no idea. I can't read that from a distance. So all of these things coming together, that's what went wrong for you, Jeremy. That's what went wrong. So if you're like, why is everyone against me? I hope that explains it. Anyway, let's read your comments. Bum, 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 bum. How are you guys? I'm doing great. I'm having a lot of fun here. Oh, the hash marks on his sleeve is supposed to be time in service. I believe that's how long he's been doing what he's doing. How many does he have? 1, 2, 3, 4. He's been running his company for 10 years, so you'd think he had 5. Each one of those is worth 2, depending on how much they're worth. Mine on my uniform are worth 3, although I have to get it updated because I hit the 6-year mark, and I haven't had a reason to wear this uniform, so I haven't gotten it updated. So my uniform's not quite compatible with regulations, but that was Tampa Post Office. Okay, well, do their employees have GS levels? They might. I don't know. Yeah, he probably doesn't know the difference between GS and MOS. Entirely possible. Police explorers are not part of the Boy Scouts. It's an organized. It was created by the same organization, I believe. I read that somewhere. Let me check that. But they're not technically the same thing. No. Yeah, okay, so founded on July 12th, 1973, it's one of the exploring programs from Learning for Life, a non-scouting subsidiary of the Boy Scouts of America. So it's not directly through Boy Scouts of America, but it's through one of their subsidiaries. Which is why I say it's sort of a Boy Scouts thing, just because they are associated with it. It's not quite the same. But, one time, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Yeah, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, but this specifically really makes me mad. And it's very frustrating for people like me who have actually sacrificed quite a bit to be in the military, to serve their country. And this guy just going around claiming that he did the same thing. Can I do anything about it? No. I'm going to sit here and pretend that I'm okay with it? Absolutely not. Army Cadets for Youth in the U.S. I mean, there's the JROTC program, the ROTC program. So I think that would be probably similar. What are your questions? That's basically the end of my ramble. Just saying, look, his uniform is not illegal, but acting like a police officer in it and giving orders is. Claiming that you're in the military is not illegal, but using it for personal benefit is. Things to be aware of as I half yell my way through this stream. Yes, venturing is its own thing. Venturing is really cool, actually. It's like Boy Scouts, but for adults. Well, not adults, but for like the older kids. You get to do a little more stuff. You get to do is a little more dangerous, potentially. Like you can. There are fewer limits on what you can do as far as the risks go. So if you guys are under the age of, I don't know, it's like 24. Boy Scout stops at 18. Venture Scouts goes past that a little bit. Is it 14 to 21? All right, that sounds about right. I knew there was a 4 in there somewhere. Yeah. There's a whole thing. So, what are your questions? As I wait for the, there's still that delay. So, you guys might be wondering why I'm asking the same question while you're asking questions. There's a delay between what I say and then what you guys see. So, I tried to fix it. I don't know. I think it's just YouTube. I have my latency on the lowest setting, and it's the thing. It is hard to talk by chat. If you guys want to, I'll let me push for my my Discord, because now we're calming back down. We're doing fine. I have my little rant. Here's my Discord. If you want to have a conversation, I can't do voice today. I don't think I've done voice conversations on Discord. I should do that. If you want to have a more of a real-time conversation with me, I'll be up all night, ask away. And there's my Discord in the chat. That link will be good for 24 hours. Yeah. Let me see. What are my opinions on Police Explorers? I think it's a good program. I think more people, not necessarily to become police officers, but I think more people should familiarize themselves with what it's like to be a police officer and how they operate. A lot of people don't understand how mentally strenuous it can be being a police officer when you're just trying to do the right thing. And so I always encourage people to try to do ride-alongs, to interact with their local police department, to get to know the people, understand that they are people. It's really easy to think of them as not people, as just robots doing things. But go learn more about them. When am I posting the interview with him? As soon as I can. Like with this whole coronavirus thing, is actually my schedule is really bonkers right now. I still have to work, and because a lot of people aren't able to work, there is I don't want to say slack that needs to be picked up, but I am taking extra shifts to help out. So I'll edit it as much as I can. I wanted to edit a little today, but I'm doing a stream in the time that I would be doing that, unfortunately. So, oh, I've been talking so much. So as soon as I can, I'm still gonna make it a decent interview. I'm not gonna try to make him look bad in it, even though right now I kind of want to. I won't. We're gonna be professional about it. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna do my editing. It's gonna be fine. But so it's a thing. Isn't there a name for certain medals that he claims to have? Or claims to have earned? I don't know. And there are names for some of the things on his Just I can point out to you the flying wheel, which is sort of the logo they've adopted. Which, okay, that might be copyrighted. I don't know. And I can tell you that is the thing on his chest is marksmanship badges. It's Army marksmanship badges. How's it going, Nasty Nathaniel? But it's a whole thing. Oh yeah, Delaware State Trooper Youth Program in that link. So between the ages of 14 and 20, the program consists of young men and women who have an interest in law enforcement. So it's going to be, I mean, it's useful if you want to become a police officer. I think it's a really good program, probably, to prepare you for it. And that way, if you decide you don't want to do it, cool. You haven't invested a lot of time and energy into trying to be one, professionally. Yeah, and one of the things is, if he's pretending to be a police officer, act a little more professionally, right? Gah. It was mostly things about the case, Robert. It was things like, do you believe your actions would be considered impersonating a police officer? I didn't ask too many. That was one that I remember him saying, I can't answer that one because my lawyer has advised me not to. There were a couple other things lawyers, like apparently his lawyer advised him not to talk about, although it's weird that his lawyer would allow him to have an interview with me in the first place. It's a whole thing. Oh, some explorers acted curious between police stations. That makes sense if you need to transport certain items. I'm going to be ending this stream soon, unless you guys have any other pressing questions. I have other stuff I need to do today. Unfortunately, it's been really fun streaming with you guys. Please ask away, ask your final questions, which probably means I'm going to be talking for another 15 minutes because you know how I like to interact directly with you guys. But I think, look, I don't think he set out to be a police impersonator. I think he did the job. He worked with police a bit, and I have pictures of him working with police, which will show up in my interview with him. And I think he sort of got the idea that he was also allowed to, give instructions like the police, because I'm sure they allowed him to do it when they were working together. And then once they weren't working together, he's like, oh, I can still do this because they allowed me to do it before. And then that is one of the issues, because no, you cannot. I will show the Dewitte, not today. I won't be showing it today. But I'm going to have that edited and put out as soon as possible. It might be a while, though. Unfortunately. Oh, speaking of GoFundMe, I have a Patreon that I have finally set up. And I do want to talk about that very briefly. None of that money goes to me, by the way. It goes to a separate individual who is managing the money for this channel. That way I don't have access to any of it. I can't use it for my own personal gain. It is entirely to be used to purchase new items such as metal detectors for the Green River Killer plans that I have, or maybe new microphones, donated to charity, and then some of it will be going towards the person who is managing the money, just because I can't ask them to do it for free. They were willing to do it for free, but I can't allow that. So the Patreon, and if you guys are interested in the Patreon, it's not fully ready yet. It has some stuff on it. Hit up my Discord and ask about it, but I don't want to promote it fully just yet because it still feels weird to take your money. Although thank you so much, those of you who've donated. Yeah, just ask me about it, and once it's fully live, I'll be putting that out there. And it has stuff on it. It's just not everything is up that I want to be up just yet. Yeah, Staying Master 2, we got to get that interview one of these days. I can't do it today, unfortunately. But Staying Master has had an interaction, supposedly. And I say supposedly just for the legal purposes. supposedly has had a interaction with Jeremy Dewitte in person on the road. So we were definitely going to have to get that interview going. One Time, you're great. Thank you so much, One Time. That's going to be used to make this channel better, for sure. And I record all of these donations, and I will have a list of how they are spent for all of you guys. I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes about where your money goes. That's for sure. I want Donut Operator to do a video on this guy. It'd be amazing. If Jeremy Dewitte is convicted and sentenced to a state prison term, do you think he will probably be held in some kind of protected custody unit due to his high-profile case? Maybe. If they think that other people are a danger to him because he was impersonating a law enforcement officer, he may... certain conditions might be... I don't want to say created. Yeah, he might be held in some sort of protective custody. Maybe there's a certain part of the jail or prison, if he gets sent to one, that will be a little safer for him. I don't want him to get hurt in prison. I want him to serve his time. I want him to correct his mistakes and get better. I don't want him to be punished necessarily, but I do want him to be improved. I think that's probably something that they're considering. Oh yeah, the sex offender is going to be... Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, he might want some of that protection. Pretending to be a police officer and being a sex offender is not going to help him in prison. How long his sentence might be? I haven't looked at the maximum amount for all of his charges. I know he has like 9 felonies right now. He's looking at least 9 years. His felonies at least a year. I think a lot of those felonies are 3 to 5 years at least. It's a significant amount of time. He's not going to end up in prison for that amount of time. I'm sure. I think there's some smaller things that he's going to beat. I think he has some good information about some of the stuff. I don't think he's going to beat a lot of the larger stuff. I think he'll get a lot of stuff dismissed, but he'll be left with some pretty big charges, and that he will accept a plea deal based on those. But maybe not. Maybe he'll fight it all the way to the end. Yeah, he might plead down to like community service or something, and that's cool as long as he knows someone, explains to him what he's doing wrong, and it sticks, right? Fine. Let's look up what impersonating a police officer is before I get out of here, because I do have to leave soon. Let's look up what impersonating a police officer in Florida is. It's actually personating a police officer. Personating police officer. I hold on, guys. I'm going to show you this. First thing that pops up when I look up Florida personating a police officer is him. Anyway, felony of the... Oh, wait, no, that's if they kill someone while doing it. Let me move my microphone. Felony of the 2nd degree. Felony of the 3rd degree. We're going to say felony of the 3rd degree. Alright. So let's look up how much each gets you in Florida. Alright. 3rd degree is punishable by up to 5 years in prison, 5 years probation, and a $5,000 fine. So, for each of those charges, and we can do that in a different stream, each of those charges, we're looking at... Oh, as you think, there you are. Forgot that was there. I was trying to figure it out. That's from my other stream. If he gets charged consecutively with all of his impersonating a police officer charges, which there are a few, we're looking at 5 years each, maximum. So, obviously not great. It's I don't think all 9 of them are for impersonating a police officer. I think there are other things involved there. I could be wrong. We'd have to check. I'd have to go through his charges and look through exactly what he's being charged with. I can probably do that tonight. Yeah, remind me in the Discord to do that. Yeah, he might only get like 3 years in probation fine. I think he might not be able to run his company anymore. I think that might be a condition of a plea deal. Like, look, you're not allowed to run this company. Yeah, assault. That was the Chicago one. Yes. Assault. Wiretap. Yeah, fewer wiretapping, but he has a reasonable defense, or maybe not reasonable. He has a pretty decent defense on those. His attorney put forth some good arguments. Those might be dropped down to something smaller or dismissed entirely. Yeah, if he handed out tickets, he'd be screwed. That would be good luck. Yeah, smacking the cop's car, is that assault? That's something I discussed in one of my earlier live streams, like my early live streams about this. Or is it disorderly conduct? It could be assault. It's a whole thing. Yeah, we'll have to look at the charges. We'll have to do another stream soon, and we can go over what he's being charged with currently. Multiple punishments law, which means you cannot be sentenced consecutively to multiple counts if in the same case. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe Florida has a similar thing. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. Here's something I want to point out before the interview comes out. Is Dewitte's had some problems with his, and I'm going to get out of here after this. He's had some problems with his lights. He started out with white lights. He'll talk about this. He started out with white lights. The police were like, no, you can't have white lights. So he did white and purple, and the police were like, no, you still have white lights. You can't do that. So I was like, okay, cool. So he's had a lot of these tickets dismissed by the judge. He's basically like, look, if you change it to this, we'll just dismiss this charge, right? This is according to him. Eventually, when he's in the court for all these tickets for white lights, when he has purple as well, the judge is like, look, I'll dismiss these if you get purple and amber, which is what you're allowed to have for a funeral escort. So he sat down, he talked about this. He sat down with the police chief or someone in the police department, and they went through a catalog, and they picked out the correct lights. So he talks a lot about, like, look, how can I be getting these tickets for improper lights when the police actually helped me pick them out? All right, that's fair. That's very interesting. Yeah, it might have just been like a fix-it-ticket type situation. But it's interesting that this happened, because apparently the police chief at the time was basically like, look, all right, guys, let's leave him alone for a little bit. Let's not be harassing him. We're harassing him a lot. He's being very cooperative. Let's give him a break. That police chief at the time in Orange County is now the mayor of Orange County. If I've got this all correct, I might have this wrong. Please correct me if I do. He's now the mayor. There are rumors, things that Dewitte has alleged to. Basically, the mayor has stepped in and said, hey, you're harassing this dude again. Yeah, he's messed up, but let's not get him for every tiny thing we can. Limit the investigation. Just charge him with what you got. We're not going to go down this road of going through every piece of footage he has. We have enough to punish him for what he's done so he can learn from it. So there's a rumor that the mayor has sort of been like, hey, police chief, hey, how about we cut it where we got it, right? Yeah, we could get him for more. But let's just end it where it is. Interesting theory. I would love to have evidence that it is true. I'll look into that. But just, if you're wondering why there aren't more charges, that is a possibility. Now, I'm not going to say that is a fact. I'm going to make it very clear that it has been a theory. Based on information I have received and put together from various sources. But if that's true, it's just interesting. Yeah, the mayor used to be the police chief. And the statute does say purple or amber. I actually contacted the Florida Highway Patrol, and they said, no, you should be able to do both at the same time. So different agencies actually interpret it differently, because the Orange County Police seem to think that it's only one or the other, while the Florida Highway Police seem to think that it can be both. So this matches some of the things that Dewitte has been saying. He's like, look, we only get ticketed for these lights in Orange County. The Florida Highway Patrol has never had a problem with it. So that's the whole thing. But I got to get out of here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It was nice to vent some of my frustrations with that newest video. I hope that we learned a thing or two about the situation and exactly why this might be bad news for him. So, anyway, until the next time, be good and stay safe.